Well, we are live and back together. The Hillbilly and I have been away from each other for a couple weeks, and we got the Mike Scully show and my good friend Shawnee O'Rourke, and we're going to have a little talk about some sports today. So, all right, Hillbilly, what do you say? You ready?
Yeah, and apologize for last week. As we all know, I got caught up in the whirlwind of Mr. Delicious, and I'm still not feeling right. So,
well, you missed Jacob. Jacob was on and was excellent. I think his first appearance since in his new role, other than being on television with a shirt for one game and without a shirt for one game when West Virginia was hosting the regionals and the super regional. But he got to talk about what they're doing there with the biomechanics and the lab, and it was really good. We missed you. He, telling them what obviously that you are a mountaineer, and but we'll get him back on down the road here when we get into the football season, and he can share some more stuff. But he told a Paul Skeen story, which was pretty freaking incredible.
Well, you got to send me that link. I you probably knew I was incapacitated, but it's interesting you bring that up, Mike. I don't know if you saw the news this morning, but Skeens was supposed to start today, and they pulled him till Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to hear what your guy said, but there's definitely some issues with him right now, and they're going to have to figure it out.
I don't know if it's mental or if it's something physical that they're trying to hold up. But not to digress with what Jacob was saying, but the most impressive thing that they talk about Paul is preparation and what he does and how he goes about things. And he told a story, John, that if he misses a spot by that much, he's freaking irate with himself. I mean, it's dialed in that much that when he misses a pitch, he is admitted. If I throw my best pitch and they hit it, good for the hitter. But if I execute the way I'm supposed to and the way I believe I'm capable of, I can get everybody out. So.
Well, they're going to have to figure it out. I mean, I don't know if you saw the picture of him and Livy Dunn on the beach in Miami, and I know there's a lot of questions coming out of Pittsburgh if he's in the best shape that he needs to be in right now. And as we know, you start reaching that level of stardom, you get a lot of side distractions with commercials and commitments and everything like that. Right. You may need to reevaluate all that and figure out where he's at.
Yeah, I don't think it's lack of preparation. He's a big guy, but he's always kind of been. I don't want to insult.
Thick. He's thick. He's a thick guy.
He's a thick guy. Being a thick guy, I know how that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So, but let's hope he figures it out, because I think he's an unbelievable talent, and I'm a big fan of both him and Livy. I think they try to do things right and are good, down to earth kids. So I wish them the best. Well, it's that time of year, brother. It's the best time of the year. NFL training camps are in full swing. Preseason games are going. I saw Shadur throw a pick yesterday, but didn't look too bad. The Raiders, with their quarterback situation, with their number one pick, and then our boy that came out of Michigan State, Kirk Cousins, and their battle. I think Cousins, it's his job to lose. I think he'll start. But I thought they looked really good.
Well, Mike, you know better than anybody. It's kind of hard to tell in preseason because they're not running. They're just running vanilla base.
Oh yeah, everything. There's no disguises or anything. But you can see. I mean, the Simpson kid looked really good for the Rams against the Chiefs. I don't know if you got to see any of that. He looked.
No, I when you text me, I looked it up I saw the highlights, but.
He looked really, really good. But again, it's preseason. I got the chance to watch a little bit of the Cowboys and the Seahawks last night, but you get tuned into it a little bit more. But I'm just so happy football's back. Dear God.
Yeah.
So, what did you go? I'm going to go back to your Pittsburgh days. What did you think? We didn't get a chance to talk about it last week. What did you think about Aaron Rodgers on the McAfee show?
Oh well, I mean. Aaron's at the point of his career where he just doesn't really care. He's going to say what he feels and let the chips fall with it. I mean, it's his last year. I think he's going out with guns blazing. But it's interesting, what I'm hearing out of Pittsburgh is, Aaron's always had this reputation as being difficult or not a great teammate. And you're hearing complete opposite of that out of Pittsburgh. That, he's very engaged. He's coaching everybody else up. He's relaxed. So it'll be interesting. Listen, I think the guy is past his prime. I don't see the Steelers really going very far this year, but it was interesting to see what effect he had on him and Mike McCarthy had on Drew Allard. I mean, that's the best I've ever seen that kid play in that preseason game.
Right.
His footwork looked different. He's definitely, he's a big kid, Mike. He's 6'5". He's got a cannon for him.
They got Drew Aller and Will Howard, 2 big kids.
Yeah. So, but if you're following it, Mike, they just paid Keanu Benton a ton of money, and they still got to pay Joey Porter Jr. They got so much money tied up in that defense right now. And let's be honest, they're not, like the Baltimore Ravens or Chicago Bears defenses of old for the amount of money that you're paying them. Obviously they got a new coach there, and we'll see what happens with that. But that's something that, Pittsburgh's got to be very aware of is, there's a ton of money on that defensive side right now.
Right. Yeah. But it's don't fall short or fall asleep on Aaron. I think he's skilled more than capable.
You think he's going to have a good – look, he looked slow towards the end of the year last year and beat up, didn't want to get hit, which, at his age I get. But
he took some shots. But, I think they've addressed and they've given him some stuff on the outside where he can use his head. I think and make the throws that he needs to make. But also I think their offensive line's gotten better. I was a Tomlin fan, but I like McCarthy. I think it'll be a good change for Pittsburgh. They got a tough division, though, so we'll have to wait and see. Because I think Cleveland's going to be greatly improved. Cincinnati, if they can keep Burrow healthy, I saw him he went off the other day with his calf again, out of practice. And then Baltimore, obviously, it's a new regime down there now, and see how they, the post Harbaugh era, what happens there. But but again, like I said, it's training camp. We're trying to figure out who's making the team. So we'll see. It's and like I said, I'm just so super happy that the football's back. Have you looked at all into the college ranks?
Well, I was just getting ready to ask you. That's, like everybody, I like the NFL, but I love college football. So I was going to ask you, what are your, the Big Ten is the juggernaut right now, even though our good friends around the area here are they'll lose their mind when you tell them that the Big Ten's better than the SEC right now. But where does Illinois fall into that whole Michigan, Ohio State, Indiana?
Well, my Illini, I think Brett's done an incredible job. He's got them relevant in the Big Ten. They need to take the next step, but it's all going to be centered and focused around our quarterback. We had that kid that was with us that we took from Ole Miss, was incredible for us for 3 years, and you build that rapport. So he's kind of starting over again with the quarterback position, but they got good defense. We lost Gabe Jackus to the I think he was a 3rd round pick, but he was a stud for us on defense. But I think he's gotten in a situation where we don't rebuild. We're kind of getting to the point where we can reload. I've always said, we had great success in the 80s when I was there, had some moderate success in the 90s, had flashed in the 2000s, but we really hadn't been relevant in football in the last probably 15 years. And he's changed that, which is
how do you see the Big Ten stacking up? Obviously Indiana's got to reload this year, but what are you seeing? Indiana, Ohio State as the two big dogs? And
Ohio State actually has a very tough schedule. They open up in Austin against Texas, and I think the Manning kid Arch is going to have a phenomenal year. I think the pressure's off now. He got his one season to kind of feel it and earn it, and I think they're going to have Texas is going to be really good, obviously in the SEC, but Ohio State has a very difficult schedule. The Michigan, you don't know, coaching change there. Penn State coaching change there. Iowa's always right on that cusp. Does Wisconsin bounce back after a non-Wisconsin-like year last year? They're usually, right there, win 9-10 games and go to a bowl game. So, it's going to be interesting. I think the depth of the Big Ten has gotten better. I think the SEC could have always said the depth is where they're really good. And Vanderbilt, go back to the SEC, because does Vanderbilt, do they bounce back, after Diego Pavia? He obviously got cut by the Ravens already, but he was a great college player for them and made them relevant. Vanderbilt didn't look like the Vanderbilt that I knew last year. They were physical. They went in and played Alabama tough at Alabama, but Alabama came out on top. So we'll see. And Kalen DeBoer, is he on the hot seat? He's got to have an Alabama-like year, make the playoff.
I don't even hear many people talking about Alabama. It's mostly Texas, LSU, Ole Miss. I'd watch out for Oklahoma. I think you're going to see a bounce back year for Oklahoma, Georgia. And then you got, maybe the two just outside that bubble, Tennessee and Florida. But you never know with Florida. They've been hit or miss.
Coaching change there, which I think was a good hire for them. You mentioned Georgia. I was out last night with some folks, and obviously I'm here relatively in the Athens area. I'm not far from Athens, and everybody thinks everybody's sleeping on Georgia right now, and I wouldn't sleep on Kirby Smart. I think Kirby's a hell of a football coach. He's got to get his kids to learn how to fucking drive, because he got another kid got pulled over for freaking going super fast. But that's really the only negative things I hear about the Georgia program, is the freaking players just being stupid driving. But so don't sleep on him. I want to see. I don't have you. Did you know that Lane Kiffin hired fucking Big O, Ed Orgeron, back?
Yeah, we just we haven't had a chance to get into that. It wasn't quite college football season, but
right.
That's an interesting hire, because what did they end up paying him, like $15 million to?
It's the great interview when he one of his great lines. When they said, "Hey, we're going to have to part ways, but we're going to pay you $17 million," and when that raspy voice says, "Which door you want me to go out?"
I've always liked him. He's been great. I tell you what, Mike, you talk about Ohio State going to Texas. Mark my words on this. The first year West Virginia went down and played Texas, we broke their attendance record. But that was with Geno Smith and Stedman Bailey and Tavon Austin in that hole. I mean, we were number 4 in the country or whatever it was. Okay. And by the way, very underrated place to go watch a college football game. I'd easily put it in my top 5. They will break the attendance record if Ohio State's playing at Texas. That will be elite level, big time college atmosphere. So I'm gonna definitely circle that one on the calendar.
Well, I think Texas now, if I'm correct, and somebody will probably in the internet will correct me, but I believe they have the largest athletic budget in college.
It's them or Ohio State. They're usually 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Because
Texas had their own TV deal.
Right, the Longhorn Network. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they got the SEC money, but the Big Ten money is nothing to sneeze at.
Oh no.
Northwestern's got a neat little stadium being built on where they tore down the old dike shithole and are rebuilding I think it's like 40,000 seats or 50,000 seats, but it's a really unique thing there, close to the lake there. So we'll see how they bounce back.
Is that open up this year, or are they not going to be completed in time?
I think it's going to be completed this year, or is it 27? I got to look back on that one. I got so many friends there on the North Shore that they keep telling me Northwestern's going to beat Illinois, and I have to keep telling them to go fuck themselves.
Northwestern's got former WVU quarterback Nico Marichal, who I always liked. That kid's tough as nails, man. I mean, he doesn't fit into Rich Rod's system. So I'll be interested to see how he plays at Northwestern. Is Pat Fitzgerald still their coach? Or
no, Fitzgerald's now coaching Michigan State after getting $112 million settlement for being wrongfully terminated. That Northwestern has to pay. So that whole hazing thing that went down, which ended up I believe, turning out to be bullshit. I mean, I could tell you stories back in the 80s of what that was done to us at Illinois. I mean, it's part of the you don't ever do it to harm somebody physically, but you freaking fuck with them mentally. I mean, we had I had a couple seniors that made my freshman year, with the exception of us being exceptional and going to the Rose Bowl. They were freaking hard on me, but you know what? It made me better, made me stronger mentally, I guess. But that's all part of it. But yeah, no, Fitzgerald's up at Michigan State. He's
well, that's interesting. You bring that. What are some teams we've kind of danced around it a little bit here this morning, but let's talk about some teams that it's kind of a prove it year for them because they're starting to fall a little bit by the wayside. Michigan State. You mentioned Wisconsin, Florida. We talked about already. USC, right. I think, is in that conversation.
Well, they absolutely. Lincoln Riley, I think, has got to be on the hot seat. I mean, they've won every game they're supposed to win, but they haven't won the big one that they've been kind of, maybe been the underdog. He hasn't done that, hasn't turned that yet. So we'll have to
and then I'm sure we'll get into the season goes, but the Big 12 and the ACC are so far behind in money.
Not Texas Tech.
Well, yeah.
They may be winning the whole NIL.
Yeah, not all of us have multi-billion-dollar donor that. I tell you one that I'm going to be, and I'm no fan of them because I don't know what the hell a Hokie is, but to watch how James Franklin is going to, they're a little starved down there in at Lane Stadium.
And I think he got the shaft at Penn State. Penn State has
couldn't win the big game, Mike. I mean,
but they have unrealistic expectations.
You think Penn State has unrealistic expectations?
Yes, because I will tell you this, and I have so many friends that are Penn State guys. Freaking Austin.
Well, yeah, Austin. Yeah, sure.
And I've been to State College with him several times, but they have unrealistic expectations. They aren't as talented as they think they are. They really aren't. The depth of they've always flashed to have one or two great players, but I don't see the talent on those teams that I see on the other teams that end up beating them.
You think they're still stuck in the Joe Paterno kind of? I mean, they beat us 17.
State's been living in their glory years for freaking 30 years.
They beat us 17 years in a row, but they did it like they did with everybody else. They outpowered you. They just beat you up. Like you said, you didn't see a lot of skill players that were going to burn you. Right?
Their 94 team with Goon and Kerry Collins and Kajana. I mean, that was one of the best football teams in college football history. But I don't think they've had that talent level like that. Now, obviously, they've had some incredible flash players. Micah. But, I don't think their quarterback play has been as good. I mean, I don't think Drew performed really good. Played, he did some stupid stuff, but also too, I think it's system. So we'll see. But I think Franklin, we'll see what he does at Vatech. I think he's a good football coach. I mean, he won at Vandy, and if you win at Vandy, you can win anywhere.
Very true. What do you expect to see out of North Carolina this year?
That nobody's talking about that right now. You got what's going on with Mike Lombardi. Being suspended, with pay. Supposedly there's a co-ed involved in that, but so we'll have to wait and see. I mean, Belichick was Belichick, but Belichick had Brady, and I think Tom Brady, was good enough that he was able to cover some of the flaws in those great Patriot teams. So
it's funny you mentioned Lombardi. Lombardi was at West Virginia as GM when Neil Brown was there.
Was he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And there was a lot of rumblings about that too when he was there. He only lasted a year. So
yeah. Well, your most famous West Virginia alum right now is probably Pat.
Pat gets his jersey retired finally at the opening game this year.
Did you see he cut out?
Are you talking about Pat McAfee or Pat White?
No, I'm talking about McAfee.
Oh, okay.
He's probably your most famous alum right now. Did you see he cut a new song about Pittsburgh?
No, obviously I've been, as you know, probably better than anybody, I've been really tied up with what I got on personally.
Yeah.
So I haven't had my finger on the pulse of the sports world like I usually do. But
we'll get you back in it. We'll get you through that interview this week, get you that gig, and then you'll be back in Morgantown and running the show. But no, he cut a new track about Pittsburgh. It's actually pretty good. I thought one of the most hilarious things. Did you see Adam Vinatieri's Hall of Fame speech last week by chance?
Oh, it was a classic, absolute classic.
With number one talking about Peyton's forehead, using Peyton's forehead for the camera, and then Pat holding his balls more than his wife. I thought that was priceless. So,
well, speaking of local, I just found this out this morning. Waiting for you to finish up. Did you ever meet Matt Assen that owned all those restaurants out on Sanibel and University Grill and Prawn Broker and all that?
I think I met him, believe it or not, I think I met him. It's been a while, but I think I met him with Jimmy at University Grill.
Well, he was always at the Indiana Pacer games. He's got that big curly blonde hair, and he always had the white dry erase board. Yeah. He got inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame last night. So a couple of the guys down, as a fan, I didn't even know they had that. They were telling me that this morning. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. They're like, oh yeah, Spike Lee's in there and blah blah blah. So so Matt, local legend, and obviously Indiana Pacer legend, got inducted in the NBA Hall of Fame last night.
Well, let's stay on the topic of Indiana. My favorite athlete in the world right now, Sophie Cunningham. Did you see her pop up on top of the bar singing last night after they won?
Mike, I'm almost getting to the point where I'm going to be Trick. I am so over with the NBA, WNBA, and their stupidity. Oh. I mean, you could teach a 4-year masterclass on how to F up a business on what they're just in the last week with the transgender stuff, the hard fouls, the trans stuff. I mean, it's like they're finding new ways to screw everything up.
Whoa, it's I mean, the memes right now that are on social media, when they say the one lady got up, I think it was the commissioner, how do you identify, a male or a female? All of a sudden, this little kid goes, one has a penis and the other has a vagina.
Oh, yeah, from the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Yeah. But and even whatever that chick that screams racism all the time and is wearing a blonde wig, her parents named after whatever they named her after a condiment, Dejanay or whatever the hell her name is.
Yeah.
How do you in any league, Mike? In any league, that is a clear violation, hard foul, flagrant 2. Immediately, and then within less than 2 minutes, post on social media white privilege and not have the hammer dropped on you.
Oh,
like the coach from I can't remember which team she's on, when she said protected species, which, as we all know, if you look it up, that's just a term in Australia for someone that's being protected by the refs. Not, they're not getting the calls. Right. And they immediately suspended the coach. This is where I'm pretty much done. The only time I'm ever going to watch WNBA again is if Caitlin and Sophie make it to the finals and they're gonna raise, cut the nets down.
Yeah, well, I hope that happens, but I think her taking a stand and being one of those athletes that is using her platform and not trying to cause ruckus, but just said, this is what I believe in and I'm going to stand behind it. You're not going to make me change my words because you're going to pressure me. This is who I am. This is what I am. Number one, she's a very talented player. Number two, she's beautiful. And the most beautiful thing about her, I think, is her personality. She's hilarious. I love watching her social media posts. She's just a really, I think, really classy young woman. And
I think they got lost in the wash too. Mike, she took a pay cut to stay with the Fever this year.
Yep.
I mean,
she's got big things post basketball. I'll just tell you that.
Yeah.
Big things post basketball. and I'm rooting for her. Obviously, and it used to drive Trick fucking batshit crazy talking about it, but I'm a huge Caitlin Clark fan. I will give that right to my daughter because she's the one who turned me on to her when she was a sophomore at Iowa. Because Taylor lives in Iowa City and are huge Hawkeye fans, which kills me being an Illini. But she's the one who turned me on to Caitlin Clark and said, "Dad, you got to watch this girl. She's off the charts good." And then the next 2 years they got to the Final Four and did all that stuff. So we'll see how that shakes out. But you are 1,000% right, my brother. You talk about writing a business plan and how to fuck it up in 30 seconds. That's the WNBA.
Well, Sophie's Q score has to be through the roof right now. I mean, she may be the highest profile athlete, even with the NFL starting back up right now. She's got to be right up. She's got to be right up there in the top 5.
Right. Well, as we're coming up on our 30-minute mark here for this week's show, I wanted to share one story that has come across that I've heard that, and I'm baffled by it because it's not the guy that I knew and that I've been exposed to, because I'm a huge Phil Mickelson fan, always have been. The way he treated me, my family, during the PGA Championship in 2006 and the Ryder Cup in 2012, my time at Medina. But this one came out that he paid a young man in the pro shop at the Bridges $500 to take his phone and go out and play golf. So when Amy went on Life 360, she'd see where he was on the golf course and wouldn't question what he was doing. And him and another member had a stabbing cabin at the Bridges that they'd have girls coming in and out of. I guess I don't know if I believe that, but the shit they're coming out, it scares me because where is he? He has not been in public in months. He only played one live event and then withdrew because of personal family deals. So is there, what's that old saying? Is there where there's evidence or something, but there's a crime, but
with smoke, there's fire.
Thank you. My brain's not working. I had a couple of beverages last night. I didn't get haunted like you did, but
I mean, first I gotta say that's absolutely brilliant. As we've both been married before, to have take your phone, absolutely brilliant move. But listen, that's next level genius stuff right there.
And that's when I heard it from one of the guys I follow on social media was telling the story. So I'm retelling his story.
Yeah.
Give him credit for it. But
you're right. Phil's been off the map.
The other guy on the deal said the exact same thing you did. That's how brilliant that was to think about that.
You're right. He's been off the map, and he's never shied away from the limelight. So the assumption is probably there's something deeply wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
his social media stuff with Grant Horvat when they do the 2-on-2s on YouTube they're great, and they've had great people on it, but he's gone off the radar. I don't know, hiding from something.
And especially without
sick, but having one that's been sick. So we'll go from there.
Especially with LIV getting their, securing a deal for the next year or so. You'd surprised you wouldn't come out about that. But, again, we got to give a shout out to our boy relationship, George McNeil, playing great again this week at the Senior Open. If he can avoid hole number 4 today, he might.
When we were talking before the show, if stats are right, you said what you were telling me. I think he's 5 over on the 4th hole.
Yes, 5 over on the 4th hole alone,
and he's 5 under or 6 under in the tournament.
Yeah. So he's got to figure that one out. But he's playing great golf, man. You gotta be happy for the guy. He's such a good dude, and I'll be cheering him on today.
Exactly, the pride and joy of Fort Myers. He's always been just a world-class guy. I think he enjoys fishing more than he does golfing, but
He does. He'll tell you that. He does. He loves it. He'd rather be fishing than golfing, but
but he's
golf pays the bills.
Exactly. But world-class dude, and we want him to finish the deal and get a couple wins here. But the most important thing for that guy and our guy is he's cashing checks. And that will buy a lot of bait for him. Let's just put it that way.
Yes, it will.
All right, my brother. We have come up on that 30-minute mark. This has been the Mike Scully Show. We're going to go do some interview prep with my partner, get him ready for his big job interview this week, and we'll be back at you next Sunday. But for the Hillbilly, this is Mike Scully signing off, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.